Let me start with a comforting statistic. Every year in the UK, hundreds of millions of pounds are stolen in car scams. Fake adverts, cloned cars, deposit traps, warranty nonsense. People are losing £500, £5,000 and sometimes their entire life savings. And the worst part, most of these scams are incredibly simple and they rely on one thing: you being slightly too excited about a bargain. Because when you see a Golf GTI Mark 7 for £4,500 or a Range Rover that's priced to sell quickly, your brain does something really dangerous. It stops asking questions, and scammers absolutely love that. Welcome back to Cheap Thrills, the podcast about cars that are fun, affordable, and occasionally a really terrible idea. I'm Rob Hartman, and today we're doing something slightly different. Because before we talk about cheap performance cars, terrible Nürburgring trips, and questionable purchases, we need to talk about something that sits underneath all of it. The Wild West that is the UK's used car market. Now, don't get me wrong, most people selling cars are genuine, but mixed in with them are ghost traders, auction flippers, and Facebook Marketplace cowboys. And some of the scams are so common that people fall for it every single day. So today, I'm counting down the 10 biggest scams in Britain right now. If you buy cars online, you need to know this. The UK buys around 7 million used cars a year. 7 million, that is insane. And the internet has made that process incredibly easy. You can now buy a car from Facebook Marketplace, eBay, AutoTrader, Instagram, WhatsApp, possibly a bloke called Darren who claims he's selling it for his sister. And while that convenience is brilliant, it also means scammers have the perfect hunting ground because they know something about car buyers. Car buyers don't want to miss out on a deal. You see a good deal, you message quickly. You panic that someone else might get it, and suddenly you're sending a £500 deposit to total strangers. And that's where things start to go wrong. Now here's the reality. Most scams don't look like scams. They look like bargains. The photos are good. The description sounds normal. The seller seems really friendly. Sometimes the car does exist. Sometimes the scammer just doesn't own it. Other times the cars are real, but the seller has 5 different Facebook accounts running the same advert. And by the time you've realised what happens, your deposit is gone, your bank can't recover it, and Darren's blocked you. So, counting down the 10 biggest car scams in the UK right now. Number 10, the too cheap to ignore advert. This is a gateway scam. The car is priced way below market value. For example, a Golf GTI worth £9,000 is advertised for £4,500. Why? Need a quick sale, moving abroad, selling for my uncle. The goal is simple. Create panic, you'll message instantly. And before long you hear, had lots of interest, mate. If you want it, I'd take a small deposit to hold it. But that's the scam because a car doesn't usually exist. Number 9, the deposit scam. Very common on Facebook Marketplace. The car might even be real, but the seller says, I've had loads of interest. If you want first refusal, just send £200 to hold it. You send the money, then suddenly the seller disappears. The Facebook account's been deleted and the phone number is dead. Deposit gone. And this happens thousands of times a year. Number 8, the cloned car. This one is a bit more serious. In fact, I think it's recently caught Matt Armstrong out with an M4 comp. Criminals take a stolen car. They give it the identity of a legitimate vehicle. They copy the registration, the VIN plates, the logbooks, the build spec. On the surface, everything looks fine. Until months later, when the police recover that stolen car, and guess what? You lose the car and you don't get your money back. And you're lucky you don't get nicked for handling stolen goods. Number 7, the ghost trader. This one is everywhere. Someone selling multiple cars on their driveway, but pretending to be a private seller. Why? Because private sales remove your consumer rights. If the engine explodes the next day, they'll simply say, sold as seen, mate, even though they're effectively a dealer. If you buy a product and sell it to make profit, you are in fact a business. And closely linked to that, number 6, the auction flipper. Another classic. Someone buys a car at auction, spends 40 quid on a polish and tyre shine, then advertises it as owned for years, much loved family car. The reality is they bought it 3 hours ago in an auction, usually because it has some problem that a dealer can't be bothered to fix. Number 5, the warranty myth. Some dealers advertise 3-month warranty included. Sounds reassuring until you read the policy. Coverage often excludes engines, gearboxes, electronics, anything expensive. So basically it covers windscreen wipers and the occasional bit of emotional support. Now, this can also be applied to the bigger warranties as well. A friend of mine actually recently took a 6 Series in for a warranty repair on a rocker cover where the rocker cover gasket has failed, and that has been denied a warranty repair by quite a major company as well. That's not like a small local garage. That is a large group that has declined that repair, which is disgusting really, because that's why you buy the vehicle. You buy the vehicle from somebody that has a warranty because you know paying extra gets you the warranty, but then suddenly you're told that the thing that is an accidental damage, it's not physical damage, it's not covered by the warranty. And that is a scam to get you to pay more for the vehicle. Something that really winds me up is the trade sale. I'm surprised I haven't put this at number 1 actually, but this phrase should immediately ring alarm bells. Trade sale, no warranty. Part X, no warranty. Now, what that actually means is a dealer trying to avoid consumer law, which legally speaking, they usually can't actually do, but people don't realise that. Whether you're a business that sells secondhand stand-up paddle boards, laptops or cars, you cannot avoid consumer law. You can't walk away from warranty. You can't just say, no, sorry, unless something has been damaged, which is understandable. But by saying it's a trade sale with no warranty, it should ring massive alarm bells. No dealer should be selling anything without a warranty, let alone at the bottom end. The place for dealers to sell cars without warranties is the car auction. That is where you should be buying it, at auction money, not sub £1,000 because the dealer thinks it's worth it. Number 3, clocked mileage. Now this still happens. Cars are imported, they're re-registered or pass through multiple auctions. Mileage suddenly drops, service history gets creative, and unless you give the MOT history a really thorough check, you'd probably never know. There are devices out there that you can buy from Amazon for £300 that will allow you to change the mileage of a vehicle. And mileage is something that should make you feel confident when buying a car. So make sure you check that thoroughly. Number 2, category write-offs disguised. Now, this is actually common now because of Copart, repaired cheaply, then advertised with phrases like minor damage previously. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes the car was folded up like a deck chair. Always check the history and always try and get as much information as you can and spend as much time looking at it. Number 1, the marketplace phantom car. This is currently one of the biggest scams in the UK right now. A car is advertised on Facebook or eBay, beautiful photos, great price. The seller says, I'm working offshore, I'm in the army, or I'm on an oil rig. Legitimate profile, legitimate page, all looks good. They offer to ship you the car through a fake escrow service. But because the conversation is quite deep, that doesn't really stick out. It just seems quite subtle and quite understanding and quite well organised. But you pay the money, the car never existed, and the ad disappears quicker than a 320D chasing a Tesla. But how do we avoid all of this? Well, there are some simple rules. Number 1, never send deposits to strangers. Number 2, always view the car with your own eyes, or if it's not local, get somebody else to go and look at it. Number 3, check the MOT history online. Number 4, double check the MOT history online with a HPI check or a car vertical check and get as much understanding of that vehicle as you can. And number 5, if something feels rushed and unnatural, walk away. Because the best car deals don't require panic, only scams do. So here's the irony. The UK used market is brilliant. There are thousands of amazing cars out there. Expensive, cheap, fun, affordable, ridiculous, serious. But before we start chasing the bargains, we need to make sure we're not chasing the scams. But next time we're going back to the story of my £1,600 RCZ and the small problem that has just appeared, more warning lights. And now that trip to the Nürburgring suddenly feels, well, very real. I'm Rob Hartman. This is Cheap Thrills. Thank you for listening. give us a follow, and we'll see you next time.